Hang on a sec, let me come around for this one. There is the strongest of possibilities that I might be the worst at packing for an adventure in the history of ever. Let me show you what I mean. Listen, in the beginning and early stages of our adventuring, I have not once, but twice, forgotten to bring either not enough or any at all propane for cooking our meals. And to make matters worse, we couldn't even have a fire due to burn bans, and I just knew in my brain that there had to be a better way. And the problem with cooking with propane is it requires you to bring extra accessories that are only used for cooking with propane. Listen, I promise I'm going to get to the point. Bear with me here for a second. You're either bringing these green 1-pound propane bottles, maybe a 5-pound with these extra dongles so you can hook up your propane to your stove. And of course, this is all useless unless you bring your stove. So you can kind of see how this is starting to add up and maybe get a little crazy. And some parts might be easy to forget, especially if you don't keep them all together like I do. Noted. But there's hope. Our prayers have been answered and there is a better way, and I'm super excited to show you what that is. Let's dive in. So instead of bringing all that nonsense, all you need is this. What I just threw up here on the table and nailed the spin, I might add, is the Stoke Voltaics Nomad cooking system. We have a long history with Stoke Voltaics on this channel. We started with the electric kettle and the multifunction flashlight from them, and they have been used and abused and keep on ticking. So a level of trust was developed with their products. So I hope you brought your appetite, because there's a lot to chew on here. Let's get into it. So before we unbox this, let's just get into what this is. This is a fully electric, smart cooking system, and I'll show you everything that means here in a minute. All you need is what's inside this box and any power bank that you probably already have and were already intending on bringing. Your medium to large size power banks are going to work just fine. This thing is actually pretty conservative with power, but there are some high power settings on here. We'll talk about all that in a second. Don't worry about it. This is going to be awesome. All right, let's dig in. Let's see what you get in the box. You're going to get your instruction manual. Definitely check this out. It's got a lot of good information. We'll go over it as we progress through the video. There are cooking settings and temperatures associated with certain wattages that you need to know. It's in here and it explains all the features. You're going to get your power cord. It is long enough. What I like about it is that it is your standard, what I call a computer monitor power cord. It's your standard like D-shaped. I don't know the exact name for this. Listen, I'm an overland adventurer. I'm not a techie guy, doing the best I can over here. The other thing that I really like is that it is the exact same power cord that you get with the electric kettle. So if you're rocking both of these, you can use them simultaneously, or you can just use one cord. You don't have to pack one cord. It makes things a little bit easier, things that you're not going to forget. The other thing that I really like is there's no big power brick. It's just a cord. Everything that you need to power it is built into the system itself. You also get your removable handle. This thing will attach to either the pot or the pan. It is super sturdy. It's got some weight to it. It's ergonomically designed. It's not going to transfer heat down. It's insulated. This thing works out great. It clamps to the side, like I said, and you have the ability to take it off and put it to the side when you don't need it. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, if you will. You got your lid, pretty lightweight aluminum. It's gray in color. You got your black insulated handle so you can take it off without burning yourself. It's a pretty feature-rich lid, and we'll get into that later. You've got your burner unit itself. They call it the reactor. Everything that you need to cycle through the functions is right here on this knob. Your power cord plugs into the back here behind this rubberized gasket material that keeps all kinds of debris and water out. And on the front of your function knob is actually a small LCD screen. You'll see that when we get hooked up. Got your bubbling pot. And of course, last but not least, you have your sizzling pan. You can't use just any pot and pan with this system. You have to use the Stoke Voltaics pot and pan that come with it. And the reason for that is it has these sockets on the bottom of the pot and the pan itself. And that matches up with the male end of the socket on the reactor. And so the question I've been getting asked a ton by everybody that I show these to, and I think it's a reasonable question, is what are they made out of? Are they non-stick? Are they stainless steel? Is there plastic involved? What do we have going on here? Both the bubbling pot and the sizzling pan are non-stick. It's a high quality non-stick. We've been using wood and plastic and silicone utensils on it to not chip and scrape away at the non-stick. Anybody who's used non-stick knows how easy it is to scratch, and at that point your pot or pan is ruined. High quality aluminum on the outside. It's got this nice gray shade to it. Now following the gray down, we see this orange and black band. This is food grade BPA-free plastic that can withstand heat up to 482 degrees Fahrenheit. That is an impressive amount of heat. What I really like about these pots and pans is the plastic portions do not get hot to the touch. You can literally take it off of the reactor with your bare hands and set it down and not burn yourself. I don't recommend it, however, because the metal does get hot, so proceed at your own risk. But if you are worried about taking it off of the reactor and putting it onto a surface and burning or melting that surface, I really honestly don't think you have anything to worry about. But use your best judgment, proceed at your own risk. I make no claims that you'll be damage free. I'm just saying, in our experience, we have had no negative consequences from that at all. The reactor itself is made out of that same high quality food grade BPA free plastic that is going to withstand the 482 degrees Fahrenheit as well. It's light, it's sturdy, and it's high quality. Packability, portability, and weight go. This system is stackable and it is lightweight. It weighs just over 6.5 pounds, but this can be packed up really nice and really tight. Now, I personally don't have it to show you. There is a bag available from Stoke Voltaics and all this can pack into. It's high quality, it's sturdy, and it's going to keep everything nice, stacked, tight, and protected on all of your adventures. Now, like I told you, this is packable and portable and stackable. You're gonna take your reactor, put it inside your pot, take your pan, put it on the socket on the reactor, and it's gonna sit inside the lip of the pot itself. You can throw your handle in the top, as well as your power cord, probably more organized than I do it, and throw your lid on top, and now you're off to the races. This thing can be stowed away in your vehicle, in a tote, in a backpack, or the bag that Stoke Voltaics offers. This is a smart cooking system, and it is smart for a couple reasons. And one of the biggest ways that it's smart is through safety. There's dual temperature sensors and a heat fuse built into every component of this system. That is going to turn itself off if it exceeds the heat rating that's already set. There's nothing you can do to adjust that. So if you're cooking inside of a tent, a camper van, maybe a pop-up camper or something like that, there are built-in safety features to this system, and I think that that's awesome. I trust them, and I've noticed that they've not gotten super hot. They are cool to the touch, except for the metal portions. Of course, it's going to get hot. You are cooking with heat after all. And so the other question I get asked a lot is, okay, how does it work? If nothing's getting hot to the touch, how are we cooking our food? Well, let me walk you through it. On the back side of the pot, you can see that you have your female connector. That's your electrical socket. And in here is a heating element that's going to cover the entire bottom surface of the pot so we can evenly distribute heat and heat the food up. All right, so the second thing that makes this a smart cooking system is that it will automatically recognize whether you put the pot on the burner or the pan on the burner. And why that's important is the system is going to automatically kick itself to what it believes is the smartest heat setting for what you're trying to accomplish. If you're using the pot, it thinks that you want to heat up a large amount of liquid, or if you're using the pan, it's going to think that you want to fry an egg, cook a steak, maybe make chicken, something like that. It's going to put itself in the heating setting that makes the most sense to accomplish those tasks. Now don't worry, you can change those settings to best accomplish what you are trying to do. We're going to press the center knob and it's going to say placing cookware. And what this is going to do is it's going to recognize whether I put the pot on, and it's going to kick itself over to a heating setting that makes the most sense if we wanted to heat all the water or all the liquid in the pot itself, whether we're making soup, a stew, mac and cheese, something like that. If we take that off, you'll hear the beeping. It's going to kick itself into a pause mode. If we put the pan on, it's going to recognize the pan. I think it's really cool that it pauses itself if you take the pan off. Now I just want to anchor down on that auto pause feature for just a second, because Stoke Voltaics recognizes that you're probably going to be using this with a rechargeable power bank where every watt matters. So what they did is they built in a system that allows you to take the pot off, kill all power to this system so it's not drawing anything there, but be able to resume your cooking if you put the pot back on within 60 seconds. Now, if you take the pot off completely and leave it off for 3 minutes and don't touch anything on here, it is going to completely shut itself down, memory and all, from its last heating cycle. Sometimes we forget that we have the burner on, and like I said, we don't want to keep drawing off the power bank. We have limited power in there. The other thing that makes this a smart system is that it has a built-in cooking timer down here, up to 60 minutes. So if you know you like your steak seared for 3 minutes on each side, You don't have to look at your watch. You can do it right on the screen here all by itself. Stoke Voltaics is very conscientious of the fact that you're going to be operating this most likely off of a portable power bank, and that is going to limit just how much juice you can carry at any one given time, and nobody wants to use all of it cooking one meal. So they are trying really hard to make sure that no single wattage is wasted. And there's a couple different things that they built in to make sure that that happens for you. And the first way is that this is going to bring your pot or pan up to heat very quickly. It's going to peak off, it's going to reach temperature, and then it's going to draw that wattage down, kind of like a sine wave, and hold it, only peak back up when it has to bring it back to its prescribed temperature, utilizing the dual temperature sensors that are built into each component of this. It's really smart, constantly talking to each other. The other thing that it uses is a rapid boil technology. We're going to put that to the test here in a second, using the boiling pot that holds 1 liter or 34 ounces of water. We're going to fill it up to the fill line. We'll set up a stopwatch. We'll put this thing on 1,000 watts and just see how fast it will boil the water. And that will kind of give you an idea of just how much it's going to draw out of your power bank. Alright, so as we're waiting for this to come up to a boil, there's a couple things I want to talk about real quick. The pot itself is well constructed, non-stick material, but it also has a pour spout, a rounded pour spout, that's going to make pouring your liquids out really easy and make less of a mess. We are at 1,000 watts. And we are currently 45 seconds in, so we'll just see how this does. For the sake of argument here, I have filled it up to the fill line with room temperature water. We are in a garage, so the test itself is not going to be an exact science for out in the woods, but it's a pretty good indicator of kind of what you expect ballpark. As much fun as watching a pot of water boil is, and it isn't, we did learn a lot of valuable information. We came to a rolling boil around 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Now we do have a couple things working against us here. We didn't have the lid on, and that would have helped us trap some heat and reach that rolling boil a little sooner, but then you would have been staring at the top of a lid and, well, you just can't learn much information from there. We were also able to see kind of where the heating coil is located within the pot itself. I also kind of wanted to show you and be true to my word that I can touch all this stuff down here. Cool to the touch, not hot. This, however, the metal part, very hot. Now, when we had first started this water boiling test, we had mentioned that we were going to set the reactor to 1,000 watts. And basically, it goes in increments of 200, 400, 600, 800, and 1,000 watts. Your 200 watts is kind of like your keep warm or your super low temperature. Maybe you can use it to melt butter or something to that effect. Your 400 watts is going to be your low temperature. Your 600 watts is going to be your medium temperature. Your 800 is your medium to high, and your 1,000 watts, of course, is your highest temperature setting. That's going to be your high setting. So the best way that I know how to test something like this is to put it to use. Out here in the woods, we are going to cook egg roll in a bowl, one of our favorite camping meals. And this should be a good opportunity to see how well it cooks. We have some nice frozen sausage here, so it should be interesting to see how it evenly distributes the heat across. But less talking, more eating, let's get to it. We're gonna go ahead and fire this thing up. The way we're gonna do is we're gonna press this button and we're gonna go over to 600 watts, which is gonna be our medium heat. The pan itself is non-stick. We added a little bit of oil in there just to give the meat some flavor. Sausage is still pretty frozen on the center, so this will be a good test. See how well it does. This is a quick and easy 5-ingredient dish for us. I will write the recipe down in the description below so you guys can follow along if you're always looking for those camp meals like we are. But man, this one is truly a piece of cake. Sausage, a couple spices, some soy sauce, rice, coleslaw, and you're out the door. While this is cooking, I figured we'd take a chance to talk about the lid of this thing. What I love about Stoke Voltaics is they take the opportunity to innovate and kind of push the boundaries of all the things that they can fit into one package to really make your cooking experience out on the trail really easy, really nice, and actually make it pretty fun. And that goes with the lid as well. We got 5 dots down here. That's going to be our strainer, so we can strain liquid from pasta, things like that. Then we have this little cutout over here, and this fits a couple different things. We can drain mass amounts of liquid out of there. We can cover our dish with our spoon sticking out and still have that in there nicely so we know where that is. It stays nice and clean off of the dirty camp table. The other thing that you can do is you can put your handle on your pot for stability, still cover it. The handle's really cool. It comes off because it fits both the pot and the pan itself, and it locks into place. We have an unlock, a lock. So you go down to your unlock, you press your press button, kind of expands so you can get it off of the pot nice and easy. this works out really, really well. All right, so you can see it pulling about 727, 728 watts off of the battery bank. It's also drawing the refrigerator, so it's not super, super accurate. Now you'll see this number drop down to 0 and come back up to 720. The same way that your stove at home would work. It's gonna cycle itself to keep an even amount of heat and the heat that you requested onto the bottom of that pan. This is gonna make it so it's accurate as possible. It's also gonna make it so you don't just kill your battery bank right out of the gate. It's going to be able to give you sustainable cook time. So now we're just going to kick to our next step of adding our coleslaw and letting that cook down. One of my favorite things about these pots and pans is they are just the right size. They're not too big, not too small. We can fit enough food in here for our family of 4. And I'm a growing boy, so I like to eat. And it just kind of fits perfectly in here. We're now going to swap pans. So the important thing to remember, the burner itself isn't hot. It just all works through an electrical coil system. So you don't have to worry about swapping pans and this one getting too hot before you're ready to use it. Go ahead and grab your handle, lock it into place. We're gonna peel that off. Just put it down, peel our handle off. And like I said, we can just go ahead, pop this bad boy on, and this is how we're gonna heat up our rice. So for that, I think we're gonna use 400 watts. It's just gonna be a low heat, just enough to heat up our already cooked rice. To cook down our frozen sausage, it took about 10 to 12 minutes on 800 watts. Worked out great, came to a nice brown. I'm super impressed so far. We're getting washed up here. You can see the orange to black portion on the bottom of the pan itself. That's your plastic portion. That is where all of your electronics are housed. So what we don't want to do is submerge this in water. I'm just going to take our loofah or a sponge with some soap and water, clean out the inside, clean out the metal portion of the outside, rinse it quickly and then dry it off and you're good to go. The non-stick coating on the pan is high quality. It's really gonna do a good job of making sure that nothing sticks on here, and it's gonna make cleanup super easy. All right, pros, cons, price tag, discount code, all the things I promised you. Let's kick it off with the cons. Let's get those right out of the way, and there aren't too many, but the biggest one that I found, I think it would be cool if we had a mode where we could do some fine tuning. The 2, 4, 6, 800, and 1000 watts works great for cooking. Don't get me wrong, but I think if we want to do some fine tuning, maybe make some chocolate fondue or do a double boiler, things like that, being able to incrementally change by 50 or 100 watts would be a cool addition to that. And maybe that's just a separate mode within here. Please hear me when I say that the 200, the 400, the 600, 800, 1,000 watt increments is sufficient. My second con is kind of a two-parter. I wish that we could separately order the pots and the pans. The other thing that I wish is that they came in a stainless steel version. I get it, it's kind of nitpicky. I'm sure that the non-stick coating will hold up wonderfully. It seems really rugged and tough from what we've done with it so far. It doesn't have any signs of chipping. I think if we were just conscientious in how we take care of these things, they're gonna last a long time. Pros, there's a couple of them, and one of them is a small footprint where everything you need is right here. It all fits within itself. You don't have to store a propane tank on the outside of your rig. You don't have to worry about the 1 pound bottles and forgetting them and not bringing enough. It's all just one really neat cook package that you can store in your rig, lightweight, small footprint. My second pro is that this is gonna work on just about any one of your power banks. If they're medium sized to large, it is smart enough to conserve electricity as much as possible. It is not gonna drain your power bank if you cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner one time during the day, but if you were cooking a 4-course meal out in the woods, you might have some issues. But what we found with the way that it modulates the heat and it cycles its power on and off, it does a really good job of conserving power. The third pro that we found that we really like is on the windy days, we don't have an exposed flame. So all of your heating elements is found inside a closed area. So the wind is not going to have any effect on how well it heats, how it evenly spaces its heat across the pan. It's not going to blow your fire out. If you boil over, it's not going to put the fire out. All the things that we've experienced out on the trail, inevitably, it does a really good job of keeping even heat on through all conditions. Like, I think it's pretty clear that a lot of care, a lot of thought, a lot of engineering, a lot of listening to the customers went into the design of this cook system, which is an absolutely perfect segue into the price tag discussion. At the time of filming this video, this cook set cost $199 for all the things that we've discussed here. But have no fear, fret not, I have a substantial discount for you. If you use the code OVERLANDeRoos, you can save 15%. I will link it in the description below and put the code down there as well, so you can reference that if you place your order. And if you find value in this review and you enjoyed this content, please go check out some of our other videos. We have everything from installations, DIY, overland adventures, You name it, we got it. Go check out our library and enjoy some of those videos. And please don't forget that while you're on your way over to check out those other awesome videos, you hit that subscription button. It would mean the world to us. It just kind of reinforces to us that we're doing a great job and that you like our content, and it will allow us to get the content you want to see out to y'all way more efficiently. And as always, can't wait to see you on the trail.